Okay, we're here to talk about the short film Ruth. If you'd like to just introduce yourselves and your role in the film, please start with yourself.
Hi, I'm Kerry-Ann. I am the writer.
Paul Romero Mendez, I'm director, producer.
I'm Lloyd, I'm the composer.
Great stuff. Let's get straight into it. But where did the inspiration of Ruth come from? Do you want to answer, Kerry?
So basically, both of my grandparents passed away sadly with dementia. I now have two uncles that have dementia, so it's an important subject for me.
Yeah.
And also, several other members of the team have experienced family members with dementia as well. So it's it's not just my personal story, but it is also personal to other members of the team.
Yeah.
So it was probably an obvious choice to use dementia as something for the story.
And how did you guys first start working together? How did you get together as a team?
Paul and I met at Met Film School about 10 years ago.
Okay. Had you worked together before this film?
Yeah, we've done some development stuff together. Did we ever do a finish? No, just
I don't think anything ever got made.
So we've
stuff,
just done development stuff for
Yeah.
since that one, some features and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. So we get, I guess it's an unfortunate reflection of quite how widespread the condition is. We do get quite a lot of films about dementia, and we have increasingly, I think, over the last few years. Every one of them tackles the kind of subject in a different way. Your film kind of looks at it and uses like this one take kind of technique. What was your thought process behind that? Why did you choose to make it like that?
It wasn't actually our choice. It was actually a requirement from Ari and directors from Cape, but I'm sure Paul can elaborate more on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it came from that. So from like Trinity Challenge from Directors UK and Ari as a kind of a competition to try and make something as a one take using, it was like the equipment from 1917 at the time. So we made it around that sort of time. Mm-hmm. And yeah, this story kind of lent itself well to that. So what we wanted to do is to put the audience into Ruth's shoes, and a one take would never allow you to cut away from that to breathe. Yeah. So you're basically just stuck experiencing everything she experiences as you go through the house. So the audience aren't able to see anything else. Yeah. They see what Ruth sees.
Okay. Yeah, it gives a very kind of intense, you're sort of trapped, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah. Christian, how did you first get involved? And can you, I've studied film, but I don't really understand at what point a composer comes on board, and how much of the film do you see before you compose, or do you compose first? How does it work?
There's lots of different ways of doing it. For this film, there's that kind of 50s music in there when Ruth went upstairs. That cue needed to be written and essentially completed before the film because they played that on set.
Okay.
I believe you did, didn't you? So I wasn't on set, was I? Yeah. So some of the music did have to be scored ahead of time, but all the other kind of underscore I scored later on. Okay. Whilst watching the film.
And so, is it part of the editing process, or is it part of the score writing process that the music matches the beats of the film?
Which follows the edit, yeah. The score follows the edit.
Okay.
And then you'll get the edit. Well, not on this because there was no edit, but so it's a lot easier. Right. Often, as the composer, the edit may change, and then you've then got to make it sound musical and cut it shortly, shorter, and it can be a process sometimes.
Yeah. Okay. Is that the biggest challenge of that, or is it time?
No, composer, it's just constant challenges. It's just such a frightening area, I find, with music, that the more you learn, the more you realise you don't know.
Okay. Let's talk about the one take again. So what's the biggest challenge behind that? Because obviously you're moving around. Is it a real house, first of all?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the challenge is with that, you're in another room and then you're going to come back round in a loop, and that room obviously has to look different the second time you come around. Are there literally people scrambling along the floor?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I was one of them.
Right. Okay. Let's talk about that a bit more.
Yes, it is actually a real one take. There was no cuts. All the production design that actually changed within those 12 minutes.
Yep.
There was 3 of us. Alex, who's the head of production design, I just came on last minute as an assistant. Literally the night before, Paul called me and said, someone's dropped out, could you come? And I was like, yeah, great, fine, no worries. And literally there was points where I was on the floor,
Yeah.
I was hiding behind a door,
Yeah.
and just following the camera and changing everything and hoping we wouldn't drop a plate and make noise,
Yeah.
basically.
Right. Okay. And how many takes did it take to do the one take?
So there's 9 takes, of
Right.
which we only completed 3 of them.
Okay.
That we completed the first one and we thought this is going to be so easy. And that near the end, the little girl wasn't in the place she should have been.
Okay.
So it was like, okay, this worked really well, but
Right.
we need to work out a way to lead her down the stairs to be in that final position.
Okay.
And then after that, we just had a lot of kind of technical issues because the house isn't designed for a Trinity,
No.
a Trinity. It's not a Steadicam, it's a Trinity. And that staircase is not wide at all. So we would have an issue when we would come down the stairs.
Yeah.
We follow her down and then we look at the letters, and that was supposed to be just a way to then follow in and come up into the kitchen.
Okay.
But coming down the stairs, you're asking a camera to do quite a lot, and it lost its kind of sense of where it was.
Okay.
So a lot of the times it would start to freak out at the bottom of the stairs, and we would
okay.
either have to cut or, to be honest, the one that we used was one where the camera freaked out with a little bit of, we steadied the image a little bit, and you
Okay.
hopefully
In post.
you don't notice it. I notice it every time, which if I don't, hopefully you notice. But luckily it's during her moment where she's having her biggest break,
Yeah.
where there's a lot of fear in her as well, and so that moment, those knocks that you can see on the stairs and little bits and pieces, they actually add to it, which was quite good.
Thematically, yeah.
But yeah, it was very tough to get. I mean, 12 minutes is pretty nuts to go for anyway. I can see it now, but we did get to a point where we were quite scared about finishing. That we only had the first one take. That was the one without the little girl. And if you look really closely, it's nighttime outside. There's a couple of telltale. There's a window which is dark. It should be a light. We just didn't have the capabilities to be able to light everything perfectly from outside. But yeah, we did manage to get 2 takes, and we tried 2 takes at the end, 8 and 9, which both worked. And we tried for one more, but we just had the same fail point.
Right.
So we'd already pushed everyone to the limit, and we felt that those 2 were good enough. One of them was very clean, and the other one had a shake, and we ended up, the best performances were in the one with the shake, and required, a little bit of stabilising of the image. But luckily, we didn't have to fake a cut in there anywhere because we were having so much trouble. But yeah, tough journey. But I think it's satisfying when it works out.
Yeah.
But you sit there and you're quite, you've got a lot of people there behind the scenes. There's a long reset time. Kerry-Ann, there's about 45 minutes to reset each time.
Yeah. The kitchen basically was primarily the thing that we had to reset every time.
Right. Okay.
So it's a tough one, and to get Anya, who was 70 at the time, it's asking her a lot of her. But to be perfectly honest, she was amazing every time, and was always like, "I'm ready, let's go again, go again." So her energy really helped us, and she really led this project. The way she danced around that Steadicam, her and Dom, it was from our position, just watching that happen was something pretty spectacular to see.
Yeah.
She was phenomenal.
Yeah, let's talk about. I wanted to talk about Anya and Leslie Ash. How did you go about casting the film?
So Anya came via Arturo, who had edited a film for somebody, and she was the lead. It was actually a film shot in Spain, a horror film, and she was on that. She played like a witch. She usually gets cast as a witch. And she's always telling me, I just, whenever I get a chance to not have to play a witch, I'm very, very happy. So a script like Ruth, she loved that opportunity. But she did a really good job on that, and we thought, we just asked her to see, do you like this? And the minute she said, yes, I'm up for this, I definitely love this. Yeah. And just talking to her for 5 minutes, you just realised how much passion she had for it, and you just knew she was perfect. And she's been in The Witcher, she's been in loads of things, so she's very experienced, and she's been in, she was perfect for it, and it came up on screen. Couldn't be happier.
And what about Leslie? How did you pass her?
Leslie came through a friend of ours who was working for a company called Books Office, and Leslie is a producer in that company.
Okay.
And they said they gave the script to her and said, "Would you be interested?" We thought, "Nah, Leslie Ash wouldn't be interested in this," but she read it and she said yes, because she normally doesn't get to do drama very often. She's normally kind of typecast in comedy.
Yeah.
So when she read that, she said, "I'd love to do this. If you think I'm right for this," she was like, "If you think so." And then we spoke to her for 5 minutes. She read, she'd read through it. And she thought, "Yeah, good." And we thought we're lucky to have her as well. Both of them were perfect fits.
Yeah, both fantastic. Is there any audience questions at this point? Pop your hand up, or we'll get Spencer to come to you.
Yeah. Go on, don't be shy. Oh, shy, yeah.
Have you got one, Spencer?
Yeah, I've just...
Congratulations, I really like it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations, it's fantastic work.
Yeah.
Gracias.
Nowadays it's very important.
Yeah,
So,
really genuinely thought-provoking. That's what I really liked about it.
Thank you. So I can't see you because of the light, so I don't know if I'm looking at the right way. Thank you very much.
How's the film performed elsewhere? Have you played other festivals? What's the plan for it after this?
Yeah, it's played quite a few. It was quite unlucky because it was made just before COVID, and COVID took the wind out of its sails a little bit, and so we've really started its festival run properly 2023, 2024. But yeah, COVID wasn't the right time for its release. It wasn't. Yeah, it got a few rejections then, and then in 2023, 2024, it was more welcomed. I think maybe the time people weren't wanting to see a film like this. And I'm not sure what the reasoning for it was, but it's now doing pretty well. Yeah.
It's got best film twice, and best performance for Anya as well, and a best achievement.
Audience award.
Sorry, apologies.
Yeah.
And
Tom
some
won
other
the award as well.
Oh yeah, best cinematography.
Cinematography as well.
And thank you so much for our nominations for this festival as well. So 3 nominations for Anya, Leslie, and our production design from Alex.
And that's the thing, isn't it? It's the production design. So much effort that went into that whole process. I don't know if I would have had the ability to even have considered that. I know you kind of answered this, but what part of that actual whole journey was really like the most difficult? I guess you've spoken about stairwells and things like that, but just there must have been one point that you kind of almost like when you ran through it, that you thought we're going to have a real problem with this section.
Just for the production design bit, there's the room, the kind of 1960s room. Because you don't know what the house looked like before, but that house, the team wallpapered that with the 60s wallpaper, brought in 60s furniture and everything. So it was completely made to look like they'd taken a step back in time. And it was lit in a way so it was a warmer moment, a warmer memory in her life. And also the little girl's bedroom was the same sort of time, but it was supposed to be, during a lightning storm when she was scared. But just to adapt those rooms, which didn't look anything like they did there, like the production designer and the team did just an amazing effort. Because usually what you notice is, because the kitchen does that huge change and there's other bits and pieces in there, but I always like to say those 2 rooms were completely changed, and I kind of wish we'd got a few before and after photos of those 2 rooms, because they were.
Alex tried to, while we were doing the kitchen changes every time, he tried to do a video of us doing it, just to show people this is actually how we were doing it. But it didn't film properly, and he tried it like 2 or 3 times. But he did try.
How did you know had to be changed? Did you have a list and you kind of rehearsed it over? Because was there ever a time where you went to reset it and there was something you forgot, like, I don't know, you forgot to put a cut back in a certain place or forgot to put a note somewhere, or...
I think in the first time, we forgot to change the cups in the first take, and I forgot that I had to, it was best that I just stood behind a door to change the things, like that. It was the first take. But yeah, I didn't think there was anything, I can't remember, like, no, we just changed.
The toilet stayed the same, didn't it?
Yeah.
It was just the door opened and the door closed.
Yeah.
Luckily, that didn't have to do anything.
It was
with that.
primarily the kitchen that we had to do, and it didn't have to be the same every time, because there was no, you know, it didn't have to cut into anything. So it was like, if this plate was there and that plate was there, the next time it didn't matter, because it's a one take.
Okay.
It didn't have to cut into anything.
Any other audience questions?
No, you're good.
No? I'm going to ask you all what you're working on next. Christian, do you want to start?
Oh, well, I'm working with Paul on quite a few things.
Okay.
What have we got in the pipeline?
We've got a couple of shorts, haven't we?
Yeah,
And,
2, potentially 3 as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always potentially until you find some money for it. But we filmed one, but it's missing a few little bits to finish it off. But other than that, just hoping we can get a few more. You've got more bits going on as well, not just with me.
I mean, with being a composer, you end up doing all sorts of different things, and I compose quite a lot of library music as well. So, you know, you compose for the library, and then it's put on the TV shows after. The editors just pick it up. So I do lots of that. I quite enjoy that as well. As there's just no pressure. You can just you've got a month to write 3 tracks, and that's fine. You know, it's and then there might be a few corrections, but it's not. I mean, my passion obviously is film and narrative work, but there's something nice about having no pressure and sitting in the studio and just writing some nice tracks.
His score's amazing though in that shot as well, isn't it? That
fantastic.
moment when they're embracing and her eyes open and he brings it up, it gets me every time, and I've seen it like, I don't know, hundreds of times, and it always gets me.
That was a tough one to write, because my grandmother passed away with vascular dementia, and the process, you've really, you know, the composing process, you've got to get into that mindset. And I don't mind admitting the amount of times I was in tears composing, because I was trying to feel it all, you know, just trying to get into that mindset, and you know, thinking of my grandmother as I was doing it, and you know, it's just a horrendous condition that affects so many people, and so many families are touched by it. And I just tried to do it justice by just trying to get a bit of pain in there, really, through the music.
And I have some TV work lined up. So yeah, I can't talk too much about it, but I'm very excited. I actually have the novel that I've been asked to adapt in my bag at the moment.
Oh, okay. Kind of want to have a look then.
No, it's busting through my bag. Oh, this is what it is. Okay.
Thank you so much for
Thank
submitting
you.
your film. It's wonderful.
Thank you for having
the whole
Thank you for
creative
sharing.
process behind it, from the score to the cinematography to the writing, the acting, all wonderful. Could we have a round of applause, please, for the filmmaker?